Welcome to Michelle's Podcast News, your daily update on what's happening around the podcasting community of companies, technologies, and partnerships. I'm your host, Michelle Tandler. Today, we're kicking things off with a fascinating story about an upcoming podcast episode featuring an intriguing trio, two Mikes and a Bill. That's right, Kansas City Chiefs tight end. Travis Kelce is set to host a special episode that brings together Olympic athletes and an heir from the renowned Hermes family. This news comes to us from Fox 29 News Philadelphia. So, who are these Mikes and Bill? Well, the two Mikes are none other than Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time, and Mike Tyson, the legendary boxer. Both of these athletes have made significant impacts in their respective sports, and it'll be interesting to hear their insights and stories. And the Bill? That's Bill Hermes, an heir to the Hermes luxury brand. The Hermes family is known for their high-end fashion and lifestyle products, and Bill brings a unique perspective from the world of luxury and business. Travis Kelce, who's already made a name for himself on the football field, is no stranger to the podcasting world. His show, New Heights, has been gaining popularity for its candid conversations and engaging content. This upcoming episode promises to be a must-listen, as it brings together sports legends and a business tycoon for a dynamic discussion. What can listeners expect from this episode? According to Fox 29 News, the conversation will cover a range of topics, from the challenges and triumphs of being at the top of your game to the intersections of sports, business, and personal growth. With such a diverse group of guests, there's bound to be plenty of intriguing stories and valuable insights. It's always exciting to see athletes and business leaders come together to share their experiences and wisdom. This episode is a great example of how podcasting continues to evolve as a platform for bringing diverse voices and perspectives into the spotlight. So mark your calendars and make sure to tune in to Travis Kelce's New Heights podcast for this special episode featuring Michael Phelps, Mike Tyson, and Bill Hermes. It's sure to be a fascinating listen. Machine Gun Kelly recently opened up about his troubled relationship with his mother in a raw conversation with Bunny XO on the 8th season opener of her popular podcast, Dumb Blonde. I would like to say for the record, I love my mom dearly, and I misrepresented her a lot early in my career, Kelly tells Bunny XO in the clip, which premiered below. And not misrepresented in the sense of not speaking truth. I was speaking my truth, but I did not give the masses the chance to understand her truth. His pain came from his mother not trying to find him after she left the family when he was young, leading to several years of estrangement. You gotta get to me. Come find me, no matter what it takes, he says. Kelly wrote about his issues with his mother in his searing 2019 song Burning Memories, whose lyrics include, "How'd you leave your only child at 9 for another dude? All the years that you ignore me left me sleepless in the bed. I hope daddy got some kids because your only son is dead. I spent 20 years waiting on the stairs. Now I am finished thinking anyone will ever hear these prayers." Kelly reconciled with his mother in 2021 and then posted a photo of the two together on Instagram in 2022 with the caption, "Introducing my mom." Bunny XO is not the only member of the family spending quality time with Kelly lately. Her husband, Jelly Roll, and Kelly released a new song titled Lonely Road on July 26th, which they worked on for more than 2 years off and on. The song interpolates John Denver's 1971 classic Take Me Home Country Roads. Bunny XO's podcast sees her interviewing celebrities from all walks of life, including clairvoyants like Tyler Henry, professional wrestlers such as Saraya, and burlesque queen Dita Von Teese. A future episode this season will feature her conversation with Elle King. The full podcast debuts Monday, August 5th on all podcast providers, including Spotify and Apple Music. Antwerp industry veteran Isidore, Isai Merzel, joined the Rappaport Diamond podcast to share the inside story on the urgent and controversial issues affecting the Belgian and global diamond trades. Merzel, who is the director of manufacturer Dolly Diamond and president of the board of the Antwerp World Diamond Center, related how the city was originally on course to become a single node for imports of rough diamonds into the Group of 7 markets. He told how this changed and how he is still trying to correct this mishap. The single node was the Belgian government's plan to have all rough diamonds destined for Group of 7 markets pass through Antwerp for inspection as part of the bloc's sanctions on Russian diamonds. The purpose was to compensate Antwerp for the damage that the sanctions would likely bring, he explained. However, it attracted deep opposition from producer nations, such as Botswana. Speaking on the podcast, Merzel also addressed the lack of unity around import bans, with rules differing from country to country, as well as some of the logistical problems that have arisen since the latest regulations went into effect on March 1st. Some of these difficulties have led to severe disquiet in the Antwerp trade. In the Shakespeare play Hamlet, he notes a few times that a graveyard is where there's no disputes and differences become meaningless, Merzel said in conversation with Rappaport's Joshua Friedman. Here in Antwerp, we like to say that we're not a graveyard. And how do you prove it? You see how many differences and disagreements you have. Merzel gave his opinions on synthetic diamonds and Anglo-Americans' plans to sell De Beers. He also explained the history of his family business and previewed the Facet's 2024 Diamond Conference taking place in Antwerp in November. Next up, we have an intriguing episode from Freakonomics Radio that you won't want to miss, titled The World's Most Valuable Unused Resource. This episode delves into a resource that might surprise you, human hours. That's right, it's not oil, water, or plutonium, but the sheer amount of human time that goes unused. Hosted by Stephen Dubner, this episode explores the concept of putting these unused hours to better use and building a more human-centered economy. Dubner, along with his team, offers innovative ideas and solutions, but they also seek the help and input of their listeners to make this vision a reality. The episode is part of a series produced by Dubner Productions and Stitcher, and it's available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts. With a runtime of 40 minutes, it's a thought-provoking listen that challenges us to rethink how we value and utilize our time. Freakonomics Radio is known for its deep dives into economics, psychology, and sociology, often revealing surprising insights about the world around us. This episode is no exception, offering a unique perspective on how we can harness the untapped potential of human hours to create a more efficient and equitable society. So, if you're curious about how we can better use our time and contribute to a more human-centered economy, be sure to check out Freakonomics Radio's latest episode, The World's Most Valuable Unused Resource. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and other podcast providers. Now, let's talk about our podcast of the week, a recommendation from Post Magazine, You're Dead to Me, hosted by the charismatic Greg Jenner. If you're a fan of history or just looking for something both educational and entertaining, this podcast should be on your radar. Greg Jenner, who you might recognize as the historical consultant for the popular children's television series Horrible Histories, brings his expertise and cheeky charm to this podcast. You're Dead to Me is now in its 8th season and has been a huge hit for the BBC since its launch in 2019. The show has even sold out several live performances and won numerous podcast, radio, and comedy awards every year. So, what makes You're Dead to Me stand out among the sea of history podcasts? For starters, each episode features a fascinating blend of humor and historical insight. Jenner enlists a comedian and a top historian to explore historical people and events in snappy half-hour episodes. Some special episodes even run up to an hour. The combination of humor, expert knowledge, and engaging storytelling makes history accessible and fun for all age groups. One of the unique aspects of You're Dead to Me is its universal appeal. The podcast offers fascinating and fresh vignettes that satisfy adults while maintaining enough irreverence and bizarreness to hook younger listeners. For families with kids, there are radio edit episodes that are even snappier and free of any potentially offensive or inappropriate content. The topics covered are also a big draw. From ancient civilizations to modern world histories, The episodes delve into intriguing subjects like Atlantis, witchcraft, kung fu, football, and even ice cream. It's a perfect blend that keeps listeners of all ages engaged and entertained. If you're not sure where to start, I recommend the episode titled The Ancient Olympics. This episode features Professor Michael Scott, one of the show's favorite historians, and comedian Shapi Khorsandi. They joined Greg Jenner to talk about the ancient Olympic Games, just in time for the 33rd Olympiad in Paris. It's a delightful mix of humor and historical insight that you won't want to miss. And if you're curious about the podcast's name, You're Dead to Me is inspired by a phrase Spartan mothers would say to their 7-year-old sons as they went off to be trained in warfare. It's a nod to the show's irreverent and cheeky tone, making it a fun and memorable listen. That's all for today's episode of Michelle's Podcast News. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you found today's updates as fascinating as I did. Be sure to check out You're Dead to Me and all the other podcasts we discussed today. Until next time, happy listening.